Hey guys, I'm Mark,
I'm Alon.
and welcome to another episode of The Next Man Up. Well, listeners, welcome once again to the Next Man Up podcast. As always, we are excited to have you with us, thankful that you have chosen to spend the next few minutes with us and leaning into this message that we have about equipping fathers and raising up the next generation of men of faith and of character. And we appreciate you joining us, and we got a good show for you today. It's a topic that it may seem a little odd initially, but we're going to connect the dots for you here. We're going to go back into the civil rights movement and a visit that I had recently to Memphis and draw some inspiration from that. So looking forward to that. But before we do, I could not do this without my sidekick, Alon. Good to have you.
Ka-chow!
Yes. Ka-chow. That's a Cars awesome reference right there, right? Yeah.
Hey, Mark. Good to see you, man.
It's good to see you. Literally, good to see you.
Face to face.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've been able to align schedules.
Agreed.
And so it's always good to be
too long, man.
Always good to be in the studio. Well, you know where I live, you know where the studio is, right?
If it was just that simple, Mark.
if only. If only. I get it. So no, it's good to see you, and I know you are on summer break, and I'm sure that's a bit of a relief for you, chance to kind of catch your breath.
It is
re-engage a bit.
Yeah, working at a school, man, it's it's awesome, man. I think I was telling you earlier, like the work that I do there can feel somewhat like a tidal wave.
Yeah.
Just learning how to ride it Big Kahuna style. But man, I tell you what, that last day, the following morning, I slept until about like 11.
Oh, I bet.
I was zonked out.
I bet.
I'm still feeling it. My brain is still decluttering.
I can be kind of like that guy that gives teachers a hard time or school employees a hard time for working 3/4 of the year and having all the summer off. But I know enough teachers, and I know enough about what's going on in schools today and in the classrooms and all of the non-education things that administrators and teachers and the whole staff have to deal with. I haven't experienced it, but there's grace there because
lots of it.
Yeah. It's not so simple as you work 3/4 of the year, and it's not. Yeah.
The way I love cars, and I know that when you are redlining, you need to back off.
Yep.
So just imagine redlining across the United States, how your car will feel at the end of your nonstop, like across the United.
Right.
Like you're gonna need to cool down. I think the summer is just long enough. It's just long enough for teachers, administrators, anyone in education. It is well worth it because they work their tails off.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, but back to us being here. I am happy to be here. I'm excited. I hope. How is your summer going?
Good.
Yeah.
So our summer is going to be busy.
Okay.
And not in a bad way, or like everybody tosses that term around, right?
Sure.
Everybody's busy. But we our kids are just going in a bunch of different directions.
Great.
And it's all good. It's all good opportunities. Some of them are like professional opportunities that they're getting a chance to do. Some of them are like just big life moment memories, road trips, yes, exactly. So it's going to be good. But, for the next near future, it's going to be logistically like, okay, who's got who and who's going where, and we got it all covered. So, I'm thankful for resources to be able to do that stuff and offer that for my kids and the opportunities that they're getting.
Yeah,
so
man.
It's good.
It's like, it feels like your home becomes Grand Central Station.
It does.
It's like, choom, choom, choom. Everybody's just going.
Yep.
But it's cool. What's really neat in those moments for at least for my family is those moments when we get to come back together, and the ability of like after the going different ways in different directions to coming back home and being able to sit and chill and be and experience each other and just bask in our relationship with each other. Those are the moments that are awesome. But until then, it does feel a little wild.
Yeah.
So what's up today, man? You talking about civil rights? My ears is perked up. Like,
yeah.
What's on your mind?
So let me start with a little bit of context so that we can kind of bring the listeners along on this journey with us. So as I've shared a couple of times throughout the last year, my oldest graduated from high school. He spent the previous year, the last school year, in Memphis going to college. And so his school year finished up a number of weeks ago. And my wife and I went down to collect him, pack up the van and bring all of his gear back for the summer. And he's like, I feel like I don't have a home. I'm always moving. And I'm like, well, dude, get used to it for the next few years. It's just part of the life, the period of life that you're in. Anyway, we took an extra day this time and just spent the time ourselves. A long car ride and doing some different things, stopping a couple different places along the way. And once we got into Memphis, we did some touristy stuff, walking down Beale Street and it was interesting. We were in Nashville the night before, so we were kind of comparing the Nashville honky tonk scene to the Beale Street scene, being able to experience them back to back. One of the things that was on the list is my son had told me about a sign or a monument or something that said, "I am a man." And I'm like, ooh, yeah, I gotta check that out. Sure. And had no idea really what it was until we started doing some research. And it was a couple blocks away from Beale Street. So that evening, we did the Beale Street circuit up and down, and then wandered away to this monument. Come to find out, it was a memorial to what happened down in Memphis to lead up to the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. So the year is 1968, the month is February, and there were two sanitation workers that jumped in the back of a garbage truck to avoid a downpour, a rainstorm. And the garbage truck malfunctioned, and they were basically crushed to death. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the history leading up to that, but that incident was the thing that broke open the floodgates. And so for the next 2 months, there was just an ever increasing series of protests from that community, and not just the Black community, but those rallying around that in a civil rights context for better rights, for better working conditions, for better wages, and ultimately for the sanitation workers union to be officially recognized and represented within the city. Yeah. And that's what drew Martin Luther King down there to help them, and ultimately is where he was assassinated on April 4th. And so by mid-April, you've got 40,000 protesters doing a silent march through the city, and within a number of days after that, the union was recognized, the contract was amended. And so effectively, this groundswell of pushback accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, but it cost two people their lives, and a lot of tension and a lot of pushback. It just would have been a difficult place to be during that time period. One of the messages that was the rallying cry for the sanitation workers and the protesters was, "I am a man." And so this monument with those 4 words was created as a memorial down there. And we'll put a picture of the monument in with the show notes and with this episode. It is cool. Yeah. But basically, they wanted to be seen as, recognized as, treated as an equal.
Yeah.
I want to be a man. I want to, and I guess, let me say it differently. I want to be recognized as a man. They clearly were, but in the eyes of their oppressors, whether it was a government or business, whatever, they were not seen as men. And so their rallying cry was, I am a man. So I'm sitting in this memorial. I'm reading the plaques and the statues. I'm seeing all of the names that were etched into the wall, and I believe they were names of people that were instrumental in participating in the protests and the pushback. And the tie-in. So here's the tie-in.
Okay.
And I don't want to diminish or impugn anything that was done back there in the 60s. But the tie-in for me was, isn't that what our boys are saying to us today? I am, or I want to be a man. I want to be recognized as a man. I want to be treated as a man. It's like this wiring inside them that says, I want manhood.
Yeah.
And we can go off in a bunch of different directions from here, but that was the tie-in for me. Like, wow, it's inside of our boys today. Now, I'm not saying that they're being oppressed or that they're being mistreated per se, or certainly not in the same way as what was happening back then. But what I'm saying is, in our biological male wiring, our boys have in them just this innate desire to be recognized as a man. And as fathers, it falls on us to help usher them into that place and honor them once they get there. So that was, you see where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
And again, I don't mean to take away from what was done back then, but rather to draw from it and say, and we're still raising up boys that want to be recognized as men, and you know, what's our responsibility to make that happen?
Yeah. So I can see a connection here, like this idea of being seen, recognized. And honestly, like, valued as a man.
Yeah.
That statement definitely can be found, I think, growing inside of young boys all across the world.
Yeah.
You know, and it comes out in different ways, I guess, right? And maybe, let me not go down that road, but I know that it comes out in different ways.
Yeah.
It's the building of things. It's watching older ones and wanting to be like them, because they evidently are leading down the path, or they have been walking the journey of being a man or becoming a man. It's the reason why I think, like, in high school, I thought you had to have a beard to be a man. Dude, I have not grown a full beard.
You've been out of high school for a couple years.
Ever. Yeah, I'm like 20, what is it, like 1990?
You know what
I'm saying? I won't even date myself.
You don't have to date yourself.
But let's just say it's been years, decades. But, you know, like, I haven't grown a beard ever. And, you know, so watching other people shave, like, I shave once a month, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you know, it's a blessing as I've gotten older. I'm
Shaving daily is not all it's cracked up to be.
No, it is not, dude.
I'm just saying.
It is not. And honestly, like, now I'm like, I can care less. But back in high school, I'm like, dear sweet Lord, like, give me some kind of facial hair, and then one will just sprout out. But, you know, what I'm getting at is that it comes out in different ways and it gets expressed in different ways. But there's definitely something in us, I believe, that cries out to be a man, to be recognized as a man, to sit at the big boys' table, so to speak.
When we do our workshops, on developing rites of passage and things. I have this great picture I love to show it, and it's an old timey like 1950s, 60s picture, black and white. Dad's pushing a lawnmower, and his two boys are on either side of him, right behind them, pushing. I mean, these guys are maybe 6 or 7 years old, pushing miniature lawnmowers.
The little bubble ones.
Yes. I love that picture because it's like they see what they want to be, and they want to be out there in the mix with him.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
So I think you're right that it just comes out. You know, as you were talking, I was also thinking of the 8-year-old boy who's got his shirt off and he's standing in front of the mirror trying to flex, right?
Oh yeah, man.
Where are those muscles? You know, we used to joke. This brings back memories. We used to joke with my boys like, "Oh, are those mosquito bites?" Right there. You know, and it was
your 1-inch python,
right? It was, of course, it was all in fun.
Yeah.
But like those are just glimpses of that man that's growing inside that ultimately wants to be recognized.
Yeah, man, and I think you're right too, Mark. Like I think it really is our like dads, like fathers. We really need to see that lays at our feet the responsibility of helping them or pulling out of them the man that they're supposed to be, you know, the men that they want to become. Like to be able to go, oh, I see that in you. You're flexing in the mirror. That's an expression for you. Like you want to become a man. Okay, then let me help you do that.
Yes.
And now I'm not saying like, okay, dads, that's the moment that we take our boys to the gym and we just, you know, it's like, okay, 350,
get them in CrossFit.
Yeah. That's not the man that I'm talking about. I'm saying like we need to recognize these moments as like expressions of them saying, I see there's something more in me. Like help me develop that. And then we start doing that with them, you know. The minute I'm seeing my son wanting to be independent in life, like is the moment that I go, okay, I need to start working with you with what is called responsibility, and I need to start working with you in with what is called like having perseverance like in your life, you know, because I know that for you to be on your own, these are things that you're going to need to have. Yeah. These are tools that are going to need to be in your tool belt. And it starts with the character of who you are. Yeah. And so from young till it's time to launch you, I need to work with you on these things. This is what I'm talking about, Dad, is when you start seeing those flags of your son going, Dad, I want to be a man. Yeah. Start working. Yeah. Start working with them. Or else it starts turning into other stuff.
It can.
Right?
For sure, yeah. Because that desire is not going to go away.
No, it is not.
They're just going to, and like I think this is an important point here. They will pursue an expression of manhood with or without you. Because it's just welling up inside. It's like you can't control it. It's just natural. This is clearly, well, in my opinion, let me just say it that way. It's clearly nature. Yeah. That versus the nurture piece that is this built-in desire to get to manhood, to be recognized as a man. Yeah. The nurture piece comes in with helping them to figure out how to do it and how to do it well. But they're going to go after it. One way or another, they're going to go after it.
100%. I think they will. And allowing... There was this old sergeant that used to work with me. And he would say, Lon, things don't happen on... Things don't happen on accident, and if they do happen on accident, then it won't look well. It just don't look well. I'm like, okay, and he's right though, right? Yeah. Like okay, like if we don't recognize these signs and we don't begin to like help our sons become men, what can happen is like they can accidentally become some
Yeah, an adult male.
Adult male.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be good. We're hoping that, right? And we can roll the dice. We can act like their lives are Las Vegas and just roll the dice and hope something good happens. Good luck with that. But
Right.
you know, or we can be intentional, because when we purposely plan, when we purposely invest and we get our hands dirty and we're in the trenches with them and we're working with them, and we're helping to disciple, which means the training of, the forming of, like when we do those things, we don't have to roll the dice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that picture we help them paint, they step into it fully.
Yeah. I think that's a consistent theme in everything that we're doing here. You know, we haven't used the word today yet, so we might as well use it, but it's just this idea of engage.
Yeah.
You know, and recognize what's going on in your son and what he's asking for from dad, and just engage with that. Mm-hmm. As I think about the parallels between what happened, what is that, 50 years ago down in Memphis, and the inspiration for this today, it's like those people, those men, but it wasn't just men, right? Like it was, they represented a broader community, but those men wanted to be recognized and affirmed for who they were. They were men.
Yeah.
And they weren't being treated like it. So they wanted to be recognized and affirmed, and they wanted to have equal treatment, equal footing with the other men that they saw. So in terms of our boys, like, yes, affirm me as a man, right? Or during all along the way, affirm that I'm growing into manhood. Once I'm there, put me on equal footing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you got it all figured out, but I'm saying treat me different. Treat me like an equal, not like a subordinate, you know, or somebody that's not as equal. And then the other thing that I would add specific to the boys in this conversation is show me how to get there.
Agreed.
You know, now Martin Luther King came down and helped to galvanize and organize and provided a peaceful path, a peaceful solution to what they wanted. And it wasn't just him. Like, he played an instrumental role, but it wasn't just him. But our boys are like, help me get there. Help me get there. Now, they can't articulate that at 8 or 12. Maybe at 15 or 16 they can start to articulate it.
Sure.
But you got to know that's what they're asking, right? Like, how do I harness this desire, this instinct that's in me to grow up into manhood? And show me how. Show me, Dad. Show me the way. Right? Show me the way.
And done with a sense of it's not that I'm better than you, because if you come across with that kind of a sense,
like from the kid's perspective, is that what you mean? Or
I think
are you
from
thinking from the dad's perspective?
Yeah, it's like, I don't look at my son and go, I'm better than you, because I don't think that ever leads anywhere well. You know what I mean? It's not that I'm better than you. It's just that I have more experience than you.
Yeah. And
so learn from my experience. Let me teach you some things out of my experience and the wisdom that I've picked up along the way. If knowledge and understanding breeds wisdom, then son, I got a lot of it. You know. And from that standpoint, but it's from the standpoint of not that I'm better, but I'm actually I want to get you to equal ground, and I want to show you some wisdom. If we come from that point, then I think that our boys will be more willing to hear from us and let us help them get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then two, like from the affirmation part, it's so cool. I think one of the coolest things I like to do with like my son is when I see him being a man, I'm going to celebrate that like nobody's business.
Yep.
And sometimes he gets annoyed, I think. Because I'm like, yo, man, dude, like, oh, wow, you were so thoughtful. You were so thoughtful right there. You thought of more than anyone else. You thought of everyone else and not just you. Like, that was a huge moment. That's being a man. Dad, okay, all I did was give everybody in the house pancakes. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
To me, I want you to know how important that is. That's huge that you are thoughtful, that you are thinking of other people. Like, that's awesome. That's big. Don't ever lose that. Don't ever lose that. I remember saying that to him when he was like 10 or 11. Like, and he remembers it to this day. He's like, Dad, you really freaked out over me giving like the whole family pancakes. Like, he made them himself though. He made them himself, and he came into the room and he's like, anybody want pancakes? And I'm like, yeah. He's getting it. Be thoughtful. Yeah. And so, like, seeing these moments every time, like, there's a moment of our boys being a man, they want us to affirm it, though.
That's right.
Like, although he brings it up like it was an embarrassing moment,
he brings it up because he wants to revisit it, right? He wants
to revisit it. Yeah. He wants people to know, like, my dad said that I'm a man. Like, I was acting like a man because I was doing this.
Yep.
I was living this out. My character was pushing this out. And if I need to be like a corny guy in front of my kid to do that, then I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Man. I'm going to let him know. I do in front of his friends. I'll just walk in. I shake my son's hand. I'll give him a hug. And I'll be like, hey, this dude right here, this is a young man up and coming. Like, let me tell you why. And I'll just brag on him. And like, he gets all bashful, like, Dad, stop it. But it's because I want him to know that I see it. And he loves it because I see it.
That's right.
And that I'm sharing what I'm seeing, not only with him, but with people abroad.
Yeah. No, kids, I'm just thinking of a recent incident with my daughter even, just the power of affirmation.
Oh, it's huge.
And it's fun to watch them revisit it. Like, out of the blue, they'll say, yeah, I don't know why you said that to me, Dad. I don't understand. And it's like, here's my invitation to remind him or her because they want to hear it again. It's such a powerful tool.
They do, man. Oh, wow. Anyway.
Yeah. No, you're right on. You're right on. And I think that was what struck me as I'm sitting there looking at this I am a man sign, this monument, thinking, our boys want the same, different circumstances. I get it.
Sure.
And I don't want to, as I said, I don't want to take away from what happened down there, but it was a good reminder for me that our boys are crying out for the same thing. Recognize me, affirm me, help me get to where I want to go. Even if I can't even articulate it myself because my brain isn't developed enough or I got too much testosterone flooding my body. I know it's there. It's there. Help me to get there and affirm me.
Yeah, man.
So it's cool. It's cool.
Good stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm glad you took that trip. That's a cool moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're ever down in Memphis or listeners, if you're ever down in Memphis, it's worth a walk.
Yeah.
It's not too far off of Beale Street. And, it was just a good reminder of history.
Sure, man.
But also there's, obviously there was more that we were able to pull from it. So It was cool.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Well, dude, thanks for your insight, your wisdom, for being with me and our listeners today.
Yeah, man.
And
likewise, man.
Doing the thing.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, listeners. Adios.
Adios.
Hey, listeners, thanks for journeying with us on this Next Man Up podcast. We would love to hear from you. Maybe you have a question or an idea, perhaps a topic for us to consider. If that's you and you want to reach out to us, you can get us at feedback@thenextmanup.com. That's feedback@thenextmanup.com. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you later.